Well, hey, Becoming Me. I am so excited to introduce you to my warrior friend, Brewster. Brewster, welcome to Becoming Me.
I can't believe I made the cut. Like, I'm so honored to get to be here. This is awesome.
I feel like have been a part of the OG BecomingMe.tv because you've been cheering me on from the beginning.
For
So,
sure. I'm a big fan for sure. So,
well, I'm a big fan of you. And, if somebody wasn't familiar with Stephen Brewster, they didn't know who you were, just give us like, who is Brewster?
oh my gosh. Uh wow, who is Brewster? Well, I don't know. I mean, I think probably the most important stuff is I'm married to Jackie, who's been on with you before, and she's a rock star, and I've got four awesome kids that are the most important thing ever, and um super proud of them. And I help churches. So that's kind of like, in a nutshell, I think that's probably what it is.
And y'all, I mean, I'm a big fan of the entire Brewster family. Jackie, we've shared her becoming story. She's been on Warrior
Yep.
Conversations with us. So I just love your family so much. You guys helped me become who God made Emily to be. So thank you for that.
Oh, well, we'd love having a small part in your story for sure.
You have a big part, not just a small part. You have a big part. But this is all about your story, right? Becoming stories, how we're becoming who
Yeah.
God designed us to be. So I would love for you to just take some time right now and unpack your journey. Like what's made
Yeah.
Brewster who Brewster is.
Oh gosh. I mean, unlike you, I'm old, and so I've got a lot of things that have probably made that journey. I mean, the way I grew up, my parents were missionaries, so we kind of grew up around the world, and um, that's a different view and
Mhm.
experience and exposure that is like, it's definitely formative for sure. Um, you know, I I love sports. And so early on in life, that was a big thing for me. And I think that formed a lot of leadership stuff. And then I fell in love with music, and that really drove creatively kind of a part of who God made me to be. And then um, ultimately, though, it's probably, if what makes a person, I think, is their relationship with faith,
Mhm.
their relationship with failure, um, and then their relationship with grace. And so those three things probably come together to be the most formative of all of it. So
No, that's powerful. And how did you, faith, failure, and grace, how did you
yeah.
discover those three pillars in your journey? Like what made those three words stand out to you? What made that become so important to you?
Yeah, well, it's so funny. So I would say that failure probably leads the way for the grace and the faith, right?
Mm,
And so when I think being around ministry my whole life, I always knew of God. But I think when you get into some complicated situations, that's where you kind of figure out how formative your faith is and how foundational it is in your life.
mhm,
And so the failure kind of drives the other two, right? And so if you're going to make mistakes, some are forced errors, some are unforced errors, and learning how to navigate those really exposes where your faith is at
mm,
and exposes your need for grace. And uh, Jackie and I always say, like, you want to give grace to the level you'd want it given to you. And
mm,
so, yeah, so I think failure really, if it was one thing, it's
mhm.
failure, right? And and so I think that
Yeah. No,
I've
that's
not thought of
powerful.
that question before, but I think that's probably the place where it
Yeah.
is.
Is there a specific, and if there's not, totally okay, because I'm springing this question at you.
No, it's
But now
okay.
you have me curious, because obviously it seems like failure, it truly has become that pivotal piece for you that reveals a
Mhm.
lot about the direction that you're moving, the person you're becoming, the faith that you need, the grace that you need, right? And that
Yeah.
relationship with Jesus. Was there a point in your story where you really woke up to like, I need to lean into this failure and see what it's exposing about me? Was there a specific point you can pinpoint, or just is this in general over your life?
Oh gosh. I mean, for me, I don't know that there was one specific failure, right? I think there's
Mhm.
multiple failures. And as a 3 on the Enneagram, I want to hide my failures because of like my desire to achieve and be looked at as successful. And so I think I had a complicated relationship with failure earlier
Mhm.
on. And then on the creative side, like I don't think you do anything creative, or you don't do anything really innovative or inspirational without taking ridiculous chances. And
Mhm.
so um, I don't know that I can point to one, but I can definitely point to Joshua 1:9, where it
Mm.
says, "Be strong and courageous." And I think that courage and failure have a very um, unique and complicated relationship with each other,
Mhm.
and it requires both. The more courage you have, probably the more failure you'll experience. And I don't mean just
Mhm.
failure like, oh, we did this uh, and it didn't work, but like even, oh, I failed this person, or I failed this
Mhm.
relationship, or I failed in this area of my life. And then how do you become resilient to explore that? And
Mhm.
God doesn't ever give us a failing grade on a test, right? Anything that He puts in front of us, if we don't conquer it or succeed, we just get a chance to do it again.
Mm.
And so I think probably some of it, you start to see, what are the tests that I keep taking over and over again? I probably should lean in there, because that means I'm not doing well in this process.
Mhm.
So
That's powerful. Now let me ask you this. This is probably an
yeah,
easier question. Are you a coffee drinker? I don't know this
I'm
about you.
I'm not. I wish I was. Yeah, I wish I was. I like everything about coffee shops except for the taste of coffee. I like the smell, I like the vibe, I like the art of the roasting of the beans, all of that.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, it all tastes like coffee, and it's kind of gross.
Well, I mean, I
Which I
don't
just lost. We just lost like 90%
I
of the people,
I'm kinda
because they're
dying
like, this
inside a
guy,
little
this
bit.
guy is a jerk. How dare he speak that way of God's nectar?
You would be surprised though, because now that I've started actually asking people if they drink
Yeah.
coffee instead of assuming they do, because I do with Enneagram 1 over here. I've been surprised so many more people don't drink it that share their becoming stories, and it makes me a little sad, but it's okay. So what is your favorite, like your go-to drink? If you were going to a coffee shop to hang out, have a conversation with somebody, what are you ordering?
Yeah. Uh, oof. Well, probably it's a little bit seasonal, right? So, um, I'll drink tea.
Okay.
I just drink a lot of water now. I mean, I used to drink Coke Zero at like a unhealthy level, but I've tried to move it to water, and then I do I do enjoy a sugar free Red Bull pretty frequently. So
So
those are
good.
like the my go tos. But I'm really trying to go the Tom Brady route and just be completely water at some point. I don't know if I'll ever get there, but that's kind of like the long term journey.
That's legit, like, and kinda
Yeah.
hardcore. I
No,
had
and again, I'm not. I don't know that I have the discipline to do it, but
I
we'll see.
believe in you. You got this.
Well, thank you
You're
so much.
welcome. So if you were going to a coffee shop for the vibes and you get a cup of
Yeah.
water, okay, and somebody
Right.
else, maybe they're drinking a latte, maybe they're doing some water too. I don't know.
Right. Right.
Who knows?
Living crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And you're trying to encourage them on their own becoming journey. What would you say?
Mhm. Such a good question. Um, I think I would say at first, like, you're gonna die, and God's not surprised. And then instantly they're gonna be like, "Wow, you are the least motivating person in the world." But the truth is, like, we're all we all only have a certain amount of time. So what are you gonna do with that time while you have it? Like, you're gonna die, and so since that's a truth and a fact, what can we do, or what do we need to do between today and that day to maximize
Mhm.
your presence and existence, right? And so I believe that we're responsible for stewardship and effort. God's responsible for results.
Mhm.
And so as long as we are giving great effort, and we are stewarding with the best intentions and the best of our ability, then God steps in and does the rest. So if you're on your journey and you're trying to become who God's created you to be, what's that next thing that you need to put effort to and to
Mhm.
steward well to get to that place?
No, that is powerful. And if somebody was looking back at you at that coffee shop and asked a follow-up question, and they just want to know, Brewster, like, what's the one or two things? Like, I hear you, and I want to show
Hmm.
up with my best effort. I want to give my best. Like, what's a tangible step that they can take?
Uh, um, I would say the first step is w- um, the first thing you got to do is evaluate where you're spending the first and best parts of your time. If the first and best parts of your time are being spent
That's good.
hearing God and hearing what He has next for your life today, not like next, like the next deal or the next opportunity or the next song that
Mhm.
you're going to write, but the next minute.
Mhm.
I heard this really powerful thing last night, and I'd never made this correlation before. But anytime that God moves, it's preceded by God speaking.
Ooh.
And so, what is God speaking?
Mm.
Sound. His sound precedes his action, right? So, what is God speaking over your life and into your life? And if you don't know what that is, then that's your next step, finding out what that is. And then if you know what that is, it's having the courage to do what he's asked you to do, which
Mm.
may be getting out of a boat and walking on water, or it may be crossing a sea, or it may be living in a wilderness. And those aren't punishments, they're opportunities. So,
That is powerful. And what you just shared right there, I mean, in real time, this is what God's speaking to Emily, through a lot of coaching with Jackie, through, through,
yeah,
I mean, stepping into this year, it has been about what is God awakening me to? What is He saying? And I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's so powerful.
yeah,
Um, Brewster, somebody was listening to your story today and they wanted to connect with you online. They wanted to follow your journey,
yeah.
get some of the inspiration you share on Instagram. Where can people connect with you online?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram's the best place right now. I'm fully aware, and the pioneer in me knows the value of TikTok and that I need to be investing more time there. But I just haven't had the margin to get my head around how to do it. But um, Instagram's the place to go. B_REWSTER.
Yes, and we will have that linked for y'all in the show notes. You can easily follow
Awesome.
Brewster. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for just investing
Oh,
in me. I love Team Brewster. You guys are the best.
oh, it's our pleasure to get to be a small part of your story, and thank you for letting me share a little bit today.
Thank you.